Hello everybody back. Welcome to our online class lecture number 9 in microprocessors and microcontroller subject. In our previous class we have figured out about the programming model in 8086. In both the cases, that means the hardware programming model and the software programming model of 8086, we have checked it out. So today we'll be just having a recap of what we have done in our previous lecture and then continue into the study of a particular new thing into the subject, that is physical memory organization. Few topics earlier we have checked out the memory segmentation of 8086. Now this physical memory organization will give you a better understanding about what exactly this memory segmentation, in what way it works, and how does physically the memory is interfaced into the 8086 system. So as I said, a quick recap of what we have seen in the previous class, that is programming model of 8086. Then briefly I'll show you the pin diagram of 8086 also. That will be necessary for us to understand the physical memory organization, because in the physical memory organization, one or two signals or connections will be using which are actually available on the physical pin diagram of 8086. So to visualize that connections properly, a brief idea about what's a pin diagram and from where these pins are getting connected to the memories should be taken care of. So that is what we'll be checking out. So let us talk about the programming model again. So 8086 programming model is actually a hardware programming model of 8086 in which what all are internal modules of 8086 are accessible to the programmer. That means the programmer, whenever tries to write the program, give the task to the 8086, in what way and which modules it can directly access into the program. Okay, so that is one thing. Another, there is a software programming model. That means a program model, general assembly language program structure also we have seen in our previous class. So that is what again let us have a look on it once before we progress into the next topic. So here is a hardware programming model where all its internal registers are visible to us. Okay, we have this all general purpose registers here, pointers and index register, including with the flag on this side. Then we have segment registers and IP register from the bus interface unit, which is in the programming model of 8086. And we have talked about different programming levels. Okay, a few programming levels are called as a very basic, very ground, and the others are a mid-level, and the few more are called high-level. We are working with the assembly language programming in our course, so that is one of the low-level languages only. You can call very close to the machine level languages. In machine level languages, the language or the instructions will be in on-off switches, that is zeros and ones sequences. But in assembly language, it will be little bit more what I can say, that properly understood by the programmer, and it will be a proper interpreted by the humans, such that what we are writing we must know. Okay, whereas machine language, it's completely zeros and ones. It's very hard for a normal human being to just recognize the sequence of zeros and ones for it given any task. So that is why we'll be working with this assembly language programming, which can be easily translated into the machine language by the use of assembler. Okay, so this is what the programming structure we have seen in the previous class. Assembly language program structure it is. In this whole programming structure, you can check it out. There are 3 or maybe 4 things what we have checked it out. The whole thing is called program. Okay, a program is a set of instructions given to the processor to do any certain task. In that program, we are writing 2 major things. One particular thing is called as instruction, what we provide to the processor. That suppose this is an example of instruction here. Okay, so with this particular thing we give it to the processor to make it work in some or other way. Okay, some task has to be satisfied. So these are the instructions or directions we are providing to the processor to complete its task. There is another thing which is also available in the program. It's a part of program called as assembler directives. These are actually the directions or hints we are giving to the assembler, not the processor, to the assembler. And why we are giving this is that as assembler translate our assembly language program to the machine language, these assembler directives will provide a hint or directions such that translation from the assembly language to the machine language by the assembler becomes easy. Okay, so we are helping the assembler to translate the program, assembly language program into machine language easily. Okay, then we have seen another important part of the program. This particular thing is available in any language program you do work with. Okay, we write the comments for program lines in any language, whether we are writing that one in a C language or assembly or in Java or in anywhere else also. We always suggest that we write a proper understandable comment, and these comments are nothing but these are some explanations and annotations given by one programmer, one human being, such that when the program is provided to the other person for understanding or for learning purpose or for experimenting purpose, they can see that one and they can understand the meaning of that particular instruction provided into that program. Okay, line by line explanation for better human understanding are the comments in the program. Before we continue into our physical memory organization topic, it is required for us to understand the brief knowledge about the pin diagram of 8086. So initially, while talking about the features of 8086, we have seen that 8086 IC, it is available in 40 pin structure dual inline package. Why it is called dual inline? You can see that's obvious here. 1 to 20 on the one side in a line format and another 21 to 40 on the other side. So each one of these pins detailed we will be checking out in maybe from next class onwards. But very briefly you have to understand here is that we are saying that 8086 has 20 address lines. So where they are, the 20 address lines. So you can check it out, this pin number 16 here. From pin number 16 to when up you go to up to 2, we are having pins as AD0, AD1, AD2, AD3, so on. AD14 is available here. Now, continuing that one, AD stands for basically address slash data. Address slash data. That means these lines work as address lines as well as data lines. How it will do that one, we'll see in some time. So here 0 to 14, 15 of the address lines are available here, and then AD 15, 16, 17, 18 and 19. These are available on this side. Here, for one more clarity before we proceed, I have to give you that pin number 39 is AD 15. Okay. So AD0 to AD15 are actually the lines which are called as time multiplexed address and data lines. Okay, these are 16 lines, that is from AD0 up till AD15. So total of 16 are there, as you are starting with 0 ending with 15, total 16 lines are there. These 16 lines are bidirectional address slash data lines. That means on time multiplexed basis, at one instance of time they work as address lines, at another instance of time they work as data lines. 8086 has 16 data lines in total. So that all 16 data lines are this AD0 to AD15. Whereas 8086 has 20 address lines. Address lines are 20, data lines are 16. So data lines are from AD0 to AD15. Address lines are AD0 till AD15. Along with that one we have A16, A17, A18, A19. Okay, just for common notations, the AD 16, 17, 18, 19 has been given here, but better you call them as A16, A17, A18, A19. These are address lines alone. Okay, slash some more work is assigned to them, that is S3, S4, S5, S6, you can see that. About those particular things I will come explain you later, but right now you have to understand AD0 to AD15 are time multiplexed address and data lines. After that A16, 17, 18, 19, here are the 4 address lines which are the uppermost bit of address lines. Uppermost bits, about lower bits and upper bits I have told you earlier also. A0 means LSB bit, so likewise A19 will be MSB bit. So top 4 MSB bits, A19, 18, 17 and 16 are the pin numbers 38 to, or I can say 35, 36, 37, 38. Okay, these 4 pins are there. Now, when we see this particular thing, One more or two more things I have highlighted in this one, the yellow marking for this AD0 and that to pin number 34, that is BHE bar. What is /7? You just ignore for a while. That's /3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Here we have to concentrate now to understand our physical memory organization is that this pin number 16 and that pin number 34. That is A0, LSB bit of address lines and BHE bar. BHE stands for bus high enable. Bus high enable. So here address lines A0 to A19, total 20 lines are there. These lines kept together called as address bus. Okay, these 20 lines kept together, they are called as address bus. So parallelly 20 lines will be there for transmitting the address from the processor to the memory or IO devices. Because address of memory locations will be there and also address of IO devices also will be there. Everything has to be addressed. Somewhere whenever we are having the communication, exchange of data, always that particular thing will have an address. Okay, so this bus A0 to A19 is responsible for the communication of address. Bus high enable, and particularly when you observe closely, this particular line or a signal, it is bar complemented. Now what does that mean? You might have studied in your previous subject, specifically when I talk about switching theory, maybe the digital system design. Then you might have come across this particular variables as complemented and uncomplemented variables. Variables are X and there could be also variable X bar. Similarly, here it is BHE bar. That means here this signal BHE bar is active low. Active low means this signal is active when it is 0. Getting it? Instead of becoming active at 1, it is active at 0. It is low activated, active low it is called as. Whereas AD is normal or active high only. Now, these two lines, pin number 16 here and pin number 34 there, will be used for our access between the even bank and odd bank. So, these two signals will be helpful for us to understand that we are accessing the data or exchanging the data from lower bank, that is even bank, or higher bank, that is called as odd bank. So that arrangement of even and odd we will look first, then see that how these signals are useful for selecting which data operation we are doing. Okay. For a while, remaining all signals you have to keep it aside, and 3 things we have to take it from here. Okay, or actually 4 things. One is address bus. Address bus from AD0 till AD15, then A16, 17, 18, 19, 20 lines. These are address bus. Another thing is data bus. AD0 to AD15, 16 lines of data bus is there. Okay, and last thing is A0 bit number 6, line number 16 here, and line number 34, that is BHE bar. So these things you have to, as per now, understand, and that will be useful for our physical memory organizations understanding. How we can use the physical memory, or how we are doing the physical memory organization in 8086 system, that we will check it now. Okay, for your understanding, again I have kept this. AD0 to 15 are the address / data bus. Okay, address bus only the lower 16 bits, and data bus complete 16 bits data bus, because data bus size is 16 bits only, whereas address bus size is 20 bits. Out of that 20, 16 bits are here, A0 to A15. Complete data bus is there. Data bus here it is D0 to D15. Okay, how many bits are there total data bus? That is 2 bytes, 16 bits, 2 bytes, and address bus are more than 2 bytes, that is 20 bits that they are. Okay, 2.5 bytes you can say, or 2 bytes and 1 nibble. 1 nibble is of 4 bits. Physical memory organization in 8086 system. First of all, 8086 is a microprocessor, acts as a CPU into the computer. Okay, in that CPU also it has functionality only of control unit and ALU unit. Okay, control unit which controls all the computer actions, and ALU unit is nothing but it's a unit of performing all the arithmetic and logical operations. So that is there, but that alone cannot work as a computer. It requires certain devices to be interfaced to it to work as a computer. The main thing what it requires is memory. We have to connect a memory into the CPU such that there can be a storage of a program instructions and data, and at that time this CPU will be able to follow the program instructions given, execute them upon the given data. Okay, so for that purpose, as we are having 20 address lines, 8086 addressing capability is of 2 power 20 bytes or 2 power 20 locations. Each location in memory is containing 1 byte of data. Either you call that one as data or instruction, or the data and instruction, everything. Each location of the memory contains 8 bits, that is 1 byte, and addressing capability is 20 bit, that is it is 2 power 20 permutations and combinations. As we are working in binaries, each bit can be possibly a 0 or 1. 2 possibilities are there. Okay, and there are 20 such things. So 2 power 20 combinations they provide us. So 2 power 20 combinations are 1024 kilo. 1024 into 1024. 2 times square, actually 1024 square locations. So we are calling that one as 1024 kilobytes, or simply 1 megabyte. 1 megabyte seems to be very small memory in terms of modern technology today, but for 8086 systems it is supported with 1 megabyte of memory, and even with that 1 megabyte of memory it works very efficiently. In what way, in what type of data it can access and all, we'll see slowly as we are progressing into this unit. Now it is 1 megabyte capable. You can connect up to 1 megabyte of memory to it. Internally it does not have anything. 8086 does not have any kind of memory except for the registers. Registers are there. Registers can store the data temporarily. Okay, registers can store the data temporarily. Whereas if you want to store a data for a longer duration of time, or ROM, you have to connect it. So this 1 megabyte of memory you can connect that as a ROM, or even as a RAM, or a mixture of them. Half part I'll connect it RAM, and other part, half part I can connect the ROM also. I hope you understand the difference between the ROM and RAM memories. RAM are the random access memories, volatile type of memories. ROM are non-volatile. That means it doesn't change very frequently. You store it and you can preserve it. You can use it for a longer duration of time later. Whereas RAMs, the data is very temporarily stored. Switch off and it will be gone. Again, on a new next switch on, the data what you already stored in RAM will not be available to you. Now here physically this 1 megabyte of memory, whether it be a RAM or a ROM or a mixture of these two, I have to connect into at least 2 different ICs. Each one 512 kb. Okay, each one 512 kb. If you don't want to take 2, you can take 4 total ICs. Then that time each IC size should be 256 kilobytes, and 2 ICs together, 256 plus 256 will be a even bank. Another 2 ICs, another 256 plus 256, that is 512 kb of odd bank. Even bank, odd bank. 2 banks will be there. And why these banks and all, in what way we can understand these banks? See, we have talked about addresses. Addresses in hexadecimal specifically, 20 bits represented in hexadecimal as 5 digits. So starting address will be 00000, 5 zeros hexadecimal, and the last address will be FFFF, 5 times F. Now when you count from 0, 1 0 is there, then 1 will be there, then 2 will be there, then 3 will be there. Normal decimal numbers, or even in hexadecimal there will be 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, then A, B, C, D, E, F. Then after F, it will be 1 0. Okay, I am not talking about the left hand side zeros. I am talking about the LSB sides only. So 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, A, B, C, D, E, F. Then last 2 LSBs, 1 0, 1 1, 1 2, so on, 1 9, then 1A, 1B, 1C till 1F. After 1F, 2 0. Likewise, when you start counting it to reach maximum, it is FF. Now, about the numbers, naturally we know that every alternating number is even and every alternating number is odd. So if we start with 0, 0 is even, 1 is odd, 2 is even, 3 is odd, and so on. Now, all the addresses which are even, for that one, when you write in binary, the complete 20-bit address in binary. For zeros, you will write all 20 zeros. For 1, writing decimal 1, you will write 19 zeros and a single digit 1 in binary. Okay. So when we talk about address bus bits, A0, A1, A2, A3, A4, so on till A19, because it's a 20-bit. A0 to A19. A0 is the LSB bit, A19 is the MSB bit. Now, if you notice the binary numbers, one magic or the one trick is there in the binary numbers, that every alternating number in a increasing order, when you take from 0 to any n number, every alternating number, you can see that LSB bit is switching, changes. So for 0, LSB bit will be 0. For 1, LSB bit will be 1. For 2, LSB bit will be 0 again. For 3, it will be 1. For 4, it will be 0. For 5, it will be 1. So LSB bit can indicate whether the number is even number or odd number. Any numbers representation in binary, just you have a look at the LSB bit of that representation in binary, you can tell whether that number is a even number or odd number. Because in binary, the LSB bit position is weight is 2 power 0. 2 power 0 is 1. So if one weight is 0, so obviously that number will be even. And even number plus 1 will give you odd. So weight 2 power 0 when it is 0, number is even. Weight 2 power 0 when it is 1 will give you odd number. Okay, hope you are getting this. So in this even bank and odd bank system, every alternative address is stored in different bank. All the even addresses are stored in the even bank of memory. All the odd numbers are stored in the odd bank of memory. Why we are doing this? Why can't we have everything in the same bank? We are accessing the data either in 16 bits format, as our internal registers are all 16 bits. Sometimes we may access the data in 8 bits format, because we are having that option also. We are having AL, AH, BL, BH, CL, CH, DL, DH. These 8 registers are there which contains 8 bits of data, which can store 8 bits of data. So normally our ALU performs 16-bit operations, but also you can perform 8-bit operations into your ALU by acquiring only the 8 bits of data, operating upon that one, manipulating it, and process. After that process, the 8-bit information also you can generate. So for providing the option of 8-bit operations and also 16-bit operations, these different bank organizations are required in our physical memory systems of 8086. Okay, so let us continue and check the block diagram, and you'll understand in better way, I hope. When you look particularly this block diagram now, so we are in the 8086 computer. 8086 computer is there. In this one, 8086 processor is this one, and these two are the memory ICs which we are connecting to it. Okay, memory ICs. So one is odd bank, another is even bank. Now, here in the processor, you can see this is bit number D8 to D15, and here we have D0 to D7. So D0 till D7, then D8 to D15, completely 16 bits of data lines are there here. So these two red buses, when you check it, these two red color lines, they are our data bus. They are the data bus. 16 bits of data bus are there. Okay. Now, for ease of diagram and all, I did not show address bus, but there can be an address bus here. Let me take as a 16 bits are multiplexed, the same one more line will come. It will be given to this, and the continued there given to that, because address lines also has to be connected with the memory ICs such that we can access that memory locations. But I have shown something else. If you closely look at the odd bank and even bank, more specifically even bank, there is something written in the red block there, that is A0 is equal to 0. This is our address line A0 bit. A0 bit address line is there. Now, whenever A0 is 0, memory address will be a even number. Okay, you can check it out by yourself. Take binary numbers, for at least some 10-15 binary numbers, you take it and check every alternative LSB bit will be changing 0 1 0 1 0 1 0 1. So whenever LSB bit is 0, corresponding decimal or the number it is even number. So all even addresses are stored here, and we are selecting this particular IC chip with the A0 line. We are using A0 line for activating that chip. For chip select of this, we are using A0 line. Whenever the A0 is 0, automatically that bank will get activated. Activated means then you will be having a possibility of accessing the data between that memory bank and the processor. Okay, and for this one, we are using another signal, BHE bar. We are using this particular signal, BHE bar, to making this bank active. So bus high enable, as the name itself says that it is higher bus enable. Bus, data bus, it's of 2 bytes. Okay, D0 to D7 data bus, 8 bits are called lower byte of data bus. D8 to D15 are called the higher byte of data bus. Now, whenever you want to enable the higher byte of data bus, or you want to access the data exchange on the higher byte of the data bus, this bus high enable should be active. And I told you that as this one is a active low signal, this will be active when it is 0. This will be active when it is 0. So you have to select a BHE bar as a 0. That time the odd bank of the memory will be activated. You can exchange the data between the processor and this odd bank of memory. Okay. For simplicity, you understand 512 kilobyte of memory is in this particular IC, and another 512 is in that IC. Okay. 512 KB, kilobytes. Okay. 512 into 1024 locations. So that many locations of memory are there in this, and similar locations of memory are in that one. And each location is of 1 byte size. Now, as you can see here, instead of giving a complete 16 bits of data to one memory, we have split that data bus into 2 byte formats, D0 to D7 as the lower byte format, and D8 to 15 are the higher byte format. And individually, they are separately connected to these 2 physical memory ICs. Now, if you want to access complete 16 bits of data, suppose there is some data which is of size 16 bits stored in memory, you have to fetch that one and bring into the processor. What do you have to do? You have to take 1 byte from here and another byte from there. First, the lower byte from the even bank and the higher byte from the odd bank. How will you take it? Suppose there is one number with you, 1245 hexadecimal. 1245 hexadecimal. Number is 1245, right? Hexadecimal representation. Why we are using hexadecimal representations? Actually, it will be in binary zeros and ones only. Hexadecimal is a very compact version of binaries only. Every 4 bits of binary can be represented as 1 digit of hexadecimal. So for an example purpose, understand that 1245 is my 16-bit number, 16-bit data. Now 12 and 45. 45 is the lower data there. Observe 1245 when I write 45. 5 is the LSD, least significant digit. 1 is the MSD. So 45, it is our lower data, lower byte of information or data, and 12 is the higher byte of information or data. While storing into the memory, it will not store as a single 1245 because our memory locations are of size 1 byte only. Number is 2 bytes. Memory location size is 1 byte only. So our 45 will be stored into the lower bank. Suppose the address is 00000, 5 zeros, starting location of the memory. So there the data byte 45 will be stored, and data byte 12 will be stored in the next location, that is 0001. 401, because 20-bit address it is. 5 zeros is the 0 location, 401 is the location number 1, and 4 zeros 2 will be the location number 2, and so on. So our 45 will be stored in the lowest location, that is 5 zeros hexadecimal, address 5 zeros hexadecimal, and 12, the higher byte of our data, is stored in the next location. After 0 location, next location is 1. So that will be stored there. Now you observe that 45 is stored there in that IC and 12 is stored in this IC. But you want to access the whole number 1245 together. That time what you will do, from the processor you will send a signal to these both two ICs to activate this memory bank and to that memory bank also. So both memory banks will be activated. How they will be activated? Obviously you give it A0 as a 0 to chip select that one, it will activate. You give BHE bar 0 to chip select that one, that will activate. You can get 4-5 from the even bank and 1-2 from the odd bank together into our processor by these two 8 bits buses. Okay. Now there is, suppose another data is there with you, only a number 32 hexadecimal is there, 32 hexadecimal, 32 hexadecimal. This is one data, 8 bit size. Suppose that 8 bit size 32 hexadecimal is stored at even address, that will be there in this IC. Okay. And if suppose if that 32H is not stored at even address but it is stored at odd address, that will be there in this IC. So if it is there in even bank address, you will activate this even bank only to fetch that 32 from this bank to the processor. Okay. If not, if your 32H hexadecimal data, 8-bit data, if it is not available in even bank, if it is available in odd bank, that time you will activate this chip select, and from here that 1 byte of data you will take from the higher byte bus into the processor. So our 8086 system provides us the access of 16 bit of data altogether or 8 bits of data also. And 8 bit of data sometimes it may be located at the even address, or other times it may be located at the odd address. So 8086 provide all the facility to access the complete 16 bits of data at a single go, or if suppose your data size itself is a 8 bit, depending upon whether it is available in even bank or odd bank, you can appropriately select which memory bank or which memory IC it is available in, activate that IC and fetch that data 8 bit from wherever it is into the processor by appropriately using this A0 and BHE bar signals. These A0 and BHE bar signals are very important. Next, I'll show you one table where you can see this BHE bar and A0 combinations for different data operations. So different data read or write operations can be 8-bit data access or 16-bit data access. If it is 8-bit data access from even bank, or it will be from odd bank. So that is 3 possible cases as there. We are having 3 possible cases. You have to access the 16-bit full data, wherein that one half of that data, that is 1 byte will be in a lower bank and another byte will be in higher bank. Lower bank are generally called even addresses. Why so? Because when we start with the numbers 0 is a location, and that number 0 indicates even number, so that is a lower bank. Okay, low. And next number is 1, so that's a higher bank, it is available in odd address. So even banks are also called as lower bank, odd banks are also called as higher bank. Now 3 operations what are provided to us are either you are accessing the data complete 16-bit together. If not that, you can access 8-bit of data. When you are accessing 8-bit of data, if it is in even bank, that is one operation. If that 8-bit data is in odd bank, that is another operation. So 3 operations are there. Out of that one operation says that you are accessing the 16-bit data. Another 2 operations says that you are accessing the 8-bit data. But again, if it is 8-bit, whether it is located in even bank or odd bank, that we have to make sure and select appropriately. So we have to focus upon this particular table right now. So this table will give you understanding that what type of data read write operation between the processor and memory is going on. So we are having this BHE bar and A0. If both of these lines are sent from processor as 0 and 0, that means selecting both the chips are selected on. That is, even bank memory chip is selected on, odd bank memory chip is selected on. Both are on. That means memory locations of even bank and odd bank both can be accessed by the processor. And what it will do, it will access the 16-bit whole word. Word is of 2 bytes. Okay, whole word of data can be either read or write from the memory location. So both operations are possible. Either you are giving the data to the memory or fetching the data from the memory. So for that one, you have to select the signals as BHE bar as 0 and A0 as 0. So it will give you a whole one word, that is 16 byte of access of data. Either you read the data or write the data. Now, another case is 0, 1. Obviously, when there are two variables are there, they will give you 4 combinations, 2 power 2. Two variables, each one is binary. So permutation combinations again gives us 2 power 2 possible combinations of them. 0, 0, 0, 1, 1, 0, 1, 1. So 0, 0 we have checked it out here. That gives us a 16-bit data access. 0, 1, BHE bar is 0 and A0 is 1. See that BHE bar is 0. And I have told you about BHE bar that it is active low. It is active when it is 0. So here it is active. In this case it is active. Bus high enable is active. That means higher bus D8 to D15 is active. Higher bus of data D8 to D15 is active. Now you check it out by yourself in the previous diagram that D8 to D15 are connected to our odd bank or higher address bank. Coming back to this here, 0, 1, upper byte of odd addresses. Upper byte from the odd addresses, odd bank of the memory is activated and even bank is deactivated, not selected. So odd bank is activated and the data lines D8 to D15 are connected with that memory chip, and you are accessing the upper byte of the data from that odd bank of memory. For this second combination 0 and 1. For the third combination 1 and 0. 1 and 0. First of all, this 1 will make you clearly understand that BHE bar it's not active. So when it is not active, there is no data exchange on the lines D8 to D15. For the first two, there is possibility of data exchange on D8 to D15. For the next two, there is no possibility of access of data on D8 to D15. Okay, first two cases, higher bus is enabled. Next two cases, higher bus is disabled. So here, data is accessed on higher byte, obviously on the lower byte also, but here in this case, only on higher byte, because this will make the particular event bank chip deactivated. Now next combination is higher byte of the data is deactivated and A0 is 0. A0 0 means address is even address. Okay, recall it once. A0 0 means even address, A0 1 means odd address. So A0 is 0, that's in even address. If it is in even address, the data should be accessed from the even bank of memory. So in this case, lower byte of the data is accessed from the even bank of memory. Coming to the last combination 1 and 1. BHE bar is 1, that means upper byte of the data is disabled. And A0 is also 1. A0 is 1 means odd address. And odd address is available in odd bank of memory. But odd bank of memory, the data bus D8 to D15 is connected. So you cannot take the data from D8 to D15, that because bus high enable is disabled. So these 4 operations are there. 16-bit operation for 0, 0. Okay, all 16 bits, lower byte and higher byte together. In this, only the higher byte from the odd address, and in this, only the lower byte from odd address. And here, no data operation. When both BHE bar and A0 are 1, there is no possible of data operation onto the data bus. Okay, so this is all about this particular read-write operations between the processor and memory. We have checked it out, the physical memory organization of 8086 processor. Again, one more time, let us have a look on this particular diagram. I suggest you draw this one parallelly when you are doing checking out this thing. And very important to here understand that D8 to D15 are connected to the odd address. You cannot connect this to the even address bank. You have to connect it to the odd address bank. And D0 to D7 are connected to the even address bank. Okay, these two red lines are our data bus together. 16-bit of data bus split into two 8-bits data bus. Okay, and A0 and BHE bar, A0 are used for deciding what type of data operation for reading, writing data from the memory between the processor, how it will happen. Whether the data operation of 16-bit data access will be there or 8-bit data access will be there. If it is 8-bit data access, whether the data will be accessed from the lower bank or the higher bank. Okay, lower bank, when I say it is even address, or even bank, and when I say higher bank, it is an odd address bank. And for when I'm saying this, BHE bar and A0 are connected to the chip select. You have to see this particular diagram to understand that. All the memory ICs, on basically all digital circuit ICs, will be having a chip select pin, enable pin. You might have seen in the multiplexer studied in your previous semester that multiplexer has an enable pin. Enable pin, when you activate, the multiplexer is on, otherwise the multiplexer is not on. Same way, these memory ICs, RAM or ROM ICs, also has this chip select line. Okay, here, this chip select line here is there, and there also it is there. So when you want to have an exchange of data from this memory or to the memory, this particular chip select has to be enabled, should be on. So here the chip select itself is active low. You can check it out here. When I give BHE bar to this, BHE bar 0 means this CS bar chip select bar is also 0, and if it is 0 as it is active low, this chip is selected. Same way here, whenever A0 is 0, CS bar also is a 0, and that time that chip is selected. Okay, so when both are 0 0, both the chips are selected, and simultaneously 16-bit of data access will happen. D0 to D7 will carry this particular D0 to D7 will carry the lower byte of data from even addresses, and this particular D8 to D15 will carry the higher byte of data from the odd address. Okay, when only one particular byte of data access should be required, depending upon whether it is located in even bank or odd bank, you will make this BHE bar and A0 accordingly 0 or 1. Okay, according to the table seen previously. Okay, and one more thing which was not visible in the previous block diagram, that address lines. A0 to A19, all the address lines are collected like this here. Because when you chip select it, then you have to provide address. That when you provide the address, then only the access of that address will be given to you. This scenario is similar to suppose somebody has a postman or the courier boy has to deliver some parcel to you. So you stay in one building or apartment where many flats are there. The courier boy will approach to the building watchman or something to get an access into the building. And once it goes into the building, the watchman will ask you which flat you want to go to and have a parcel delivered. So he has to give the location. Okay, so here the location is the address of the person in the flat, and data is the parcel itself. Okay, parcel is the data, location or the location of the data is the flat location, is the address. Okay, address and data are like this. So you have to understand in this way. This particular table understanding is required. BHE bar and A0. When they are 0 0, 16-bit of data access. When they are 0 1, okay, 8-bit data access from the odd address. When they are 1 0, 8-bit data access from even address. When they are 1 1, no data exchange, no data access. Right? So that is it for today's class. Thank you.